Welcome back to Inform Overload. I'm your information overlord, Johnny Rogers. I laugh every time I say that. If you happen to be new here, we find the most exciting news stories on the internet and then make them more entertaining. So don't forget to tap that subscribe button so you never miss another tea party. Plus, comment down below with what superpower that you would love to have. On April 26, 1986, a terrible nuclear accident occurred in the Ukraine at a power plant called Chernobyl. What was meant to be a routine test of the plant went sideways when two explosions resulted in the nearly 1,000-ton roof to completely blow off the place. Chernobyl was and still is the worst nuclear disaster in history, worse than when T-Series won the subscriber race. It killed 2 workers during the explosion, and continued radiation caused 28 more people to die, as well as thousands more still experiencing severe health ramifications. When the explosions occurred, many of the Ukraine's firefighters rushed to the site to stop the blaze, and unfortunately many of them were among the 28 who died from acute radiation. Eyewitnesses in the area reported that the firefighters described the radiation as tasting like metal and that their faces felt as though they were being poked with pins and needles. The following day, the government began evacuating nearly 50,000 residents who lived in the area. Those 50,000 people could only take very little with them and unfortunately never have been able to return to their homes. A woman by the name of Janina Scarlett, who was 3 years old at the time of the Chernobyl disaster, lived just 180 miles from the explosion. In an interview with Women's Health, Janina explained, "I don't remember much about the event itself, but I recall heightened feelings of confusion around the time of the explosion, which transformed into a flurry of worries once we finally found out what had actually happened nearly 2 weeks later. When the disaster took place, the government didn't make an official statement until they came under pressure from other countries to explain the sudden rise in radiation. Once the public had been notified, those affected by the radiation were treated with iodine to counter the health risks of intense radiation. 2 weeks though was far too late, and many had been exposed to the radiation without even knowing. Even things we take for granted, such as going outside, drinking water, and eating raw fruit, all transferred radiation to the unsuspecting residents. Janina said that within 6 months, many people around her, including herself, began to get really sick. Her immune system was severely damaged by the radiation to the point that she would often have seizures, intense migraines, nosebleeds when the weather changed, and even her eyes would sometimes turn a solid red because of the blood vessels popping. When Janina's family decided to relocate to New York, she was often teased as being radioactive. But when she was 16 years old though, Janina watched the first X-Men film and for once in her life felt understood. Janina explains, "I saw mutants who, like me, had been exposed to radiation. I remember crying happy tears during that movie because I felt so connected to the characters. I felt like I was watching myself on the screen. I wanted to join them. I wanted to be part of the X-Men. That was the first time I realized that instead of being a victim, I was a survivor." Now obviously Janina isn't insinuating that the radiation exposure gave her some superpowers that she just hasn't channeled yet. Instead, it empowered her to talk about her experiences, and following that X-Men film, she took her first psychology class. Today, she's a psychologist that specializes in using superheroes and other fictional stories to help people manage their trauma. Michael Dennin, a professor of physics and astronomy at the University of California, Irvine, often uses superheroes as well to explain the processes of science. When speaking about what would occur if a radioactive spider bit you in this area, he says that it would do almost nothing to you. Perhaps a few genetic mutations in isolated genes, but for the most part it would be random mutations. When it comes to exposure to say gamma radiation, such as what Dr. Bruce Banner went through to become the Hulk, Denon says that, well, you're most certainly not gonna turn green. Radiation at low levels can form useful mutations, which is why it's often used as a treatment along with chemotherapy for patients suffering from a cancer diagnosis. He goes on to say that if your mission is to become invulnerable from radiation exposure, it is possible for it to change the chemical makeup of your cells. However, it only takes a few of your cells to convert from harmful radiation, which would result in death. So don't be going on any quest to try and change yourself into a superhero via radiation or radioactive spiders. Instead, take a page out of Janina's story and be inspired by these fictional heroes to do good in your own life. If you can change your mentality from being a victim to being a survivor, well, then people may start to call you a superhero as a result. Now let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "T-Series Makes History and Reaches 100 Million Subscribers." Gerber Rin says, "It's been nice meeting you 9-year-olds, salute. My only question is, where will the 9-year-olds go now? I know! Hit that subscribe button on our page, and Potato Kingdom welcome the army of 9-year-olds. They're without an entertaining home and we need to be there for them. Phantom Claw says, well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. Too bad it was not Felix who won. Good job, T-Series. Hey Phantom, I thought the same thing was gonna happen, but I'm happy with how cool you all have been upon hearing this news. I see all of your well-written comments and use of punctuation. Mr. Friendship says, I actually wanted to give T-Series a second chance, but what if YouTube isn't about you anymore? That's sad. What if it just becomes T-Tube or TSeriesTube.com? That'll be sad. Beck says, nope, 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 edit 3 minutes, don't you dare disgrace the Teen Titans like that, I will come to Toronto. Hey, whoa, okay, I didn't edit the video, but I clicked the 3-minute marker to see what you were talking about, and I am just as offended. Although you have to admit, the surprise was kind of funny. Rosie Posey says, finally my country girl habits are useful in the modern world now. 4 a.m. gang, also best morning show. Hey, if news keeps breaking this early, we will have to rebrand as the best morning show on the internet. It's just the way it goes. Thank you for watching Inform Overload. If you enjoyed this video, why not show some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, leave us a comment down below if you still have hope that one day we will have superpowers. And if you find any news stories that you want us to cover, just send a DM to our Instagram page at InformOverload, and if we like it, you may just see your story on our channel. Plus, do not forget to check out Tier List Official, where our team ranks things from the biggest YouTuber controversies to the worst fast food. You don't want to miss that. Click the link down in the description below. And for more videos like this one, just click that playlist on the side of your screen. From Inform Overload, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.